You know that feeling when you snag a budget salon chair on a flash sale, only to realize by the end of the first week that the seat wobbles, the hydraulic lift coughs, and you're stuck juggling a client's hair while the chair refuses to stay still. I've seen that hesitation a lot, and it's why I always double-check whether a pricier option actually saves you from those headaches. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. And today we'll see if the Pibbs 2206 Fondi styling chair lives up to the promise of being the smarter buy for a real-world salon or barbershop. First off, let's talk about the kind of environment this chair is built for. A typical salon sees a client every 20-30 minutes, meaning the chair gets used constantly, gets leaned on, and gets adjusted up and down dozens of times a day. The Pibbs 2206 claims an extra-wide seat, which sounds great on paper, but the real test is how that seat feels when you have a client who's 6 feet 2 inches and leans forward for a haircut, then sits back for a color service. In my own setup, I mounted the chair on a standard wooden floor, plugged it into a regular 120V outlet, and ran it through a full day of appointments. The hydraulic lift was surprisingly smooth, the lever required just a light pull, and the chair rose and lowered without the jittery spikes you sometimes get from cheap models that use low-grade pistons. That smooth operation is a practical strength because it keeps the stylist's focus on the cut, not on fiddling with the chair. Now, the extra-wide seat is more than just a marketing line. The cushion measures roughly 20 inches across, which gives enough room for larger clients without them feeling cramped. For a barbershop that serves a diverse clientele, that extra space translates to fewer complaints about being squeezed and fewer adjustments mid-cut. I had a client who normally prefers a tight fit. With the Fondi's broader seat, they actually settled more comfortably, which let me work faster and with better posture. That's a tangible benefit you can feel in the flow of a busy day. However, there are trade-offs you'll want to weigh before you click Add to Cart. The chair's base is made of chrome-finished steel, which looks sleek, but can be a bit slippery on glossy salon floors. I had to lay down a thin rubber mat to keep the chair from sliding when I leaned forward. If your shop already has carpet or a textured mat, that's not an issue, but in a futile environment you might need an extra accessory. Also, the armrests are fixed in place, they don't swivel or adjust. For stylists who rely on moving the armrest out of the way while they work on the back of a client's head, that could feel limiting. It's not a deal-breaker if you're used to chairs where the arms stay put, but it's a nuance that some professionals will notice right away. Another practical point is the weight capacity. The manufacturer lists a 250-pound limit, which aligns with most industry standards, but the hydraulic piston itself is calibrated for typical adult weights. In a scenario where a client exceeds that limit, you might notice the lift slowing down a bit, though it still functions. I tested it with a weighted mannequin, at around 230 pounds and the chair lifted without any strain, but if your clientele includes heavier individuals on a regular basis, you might want to keep an eye on that performance over time. Who should definitely consider the Pibbs 2206 Fondi? If you're a salon owner starting out, or a barbershop that needs a reliable chair without breaking the bank, the Fondi hits a sweet spot. Its extra-wide seat and smooth hydraulic lift make it comfortable for both client and stylist, and the straightforward design means fewer moving parts that can fail. It also fits nicely into a mid-range budget, typically a few $100s less than premium brands that boast leather upholstery and motorized recline, so you can allocate more of your startup capital to other tools, like quality shears or a good dryer. On the flip side, skip this chair if you run a high-end boutique where clients expect leather upholstery, motorized footrests, or fully adjustable armrests. Those premium features aren't present here, and while the Fondi's basics are solid, the lack of those upscale touches may make it feel out of place in a luxury setting. Also, if you have a shop with extremely polished tile floors, remember the potential slip issue I mentioned. You'll need to invest in a mat or matting solution, which adds a slight hidden cost. One thing that often gets overlooked is the noise factor. Some hydraulic chairs emit a faint hiss every time they move, which can be distracting in a quiet haircut. The Pibbs 2206 cylinder is fairly quiet. There's a soft whisper when you press the lever, but no loud clank or squeal. In a space where conversation is key, that quiet operation is a subtle yet appreciated advantage. Durability is another real-world concern. The chair's frame feels sturdy and